Hello folks, this is Sula speaking. You're listening to another video for Teamfight Tactics. Alright, well this is from a double up game that I played with Headwinder, and the theme of this one is one tough lobby. You will note from the borders on the loading screen that we have two people in Masters and two people in Grandmaster, so do not see those Grandmaster borders very often when it comes to double up mode. Just as a quick refresher on this, the number of people that play double up is a lot lower than the number of people who play standard teamfight tactics. And there are fewer than 100 people in Grandmaster total. I think there's only about 60 or 70 people that have played enough double up games to reach Grandmaster. So we are hitting at least one team that is at the very top of the North American ladder. I looked after the game and I think that they were around rank 42 to I think one person was 42 and one was 45. So that's out of the whole ladder there. So yeah, we're up against some pretty tough competition as we get closer to the top of the ladder ourselves. I was in Diamond 1 at the time this game was played. And poor Headwinder is only somewhere in gold because he hasn't played as many games as the rest of us. And as it turns out, the double up matchmaking uses whoever has the higher rating. So he's stuck in all these games with people in Master and in this game, some Grandmaster players in double up because he's using the matchmaking rating of us. Antisocial's already in Diamond, or excuse me, is already in Master for double up. And Grillo, I think, is in Diamond, but hasn't played quite as many games as the rest of us. All right, well, there's some chat going on between these players. Again, as you get closer to the top of the ladder, the number of people playing there shrinks. So some of these people have apparently been in a number of games with each other, and they're just chatting back and forth. We weren't entirely sure what to make of that. As far as what I've got here, I have an early Silas, and because I have an early Silas, that is suggested to me I should probably look to go into some kind of spellcaster, some kind of mage board, just because the early Silas really plays in that direction. The other direction would be I could look to try to play into the Siphon plus Shi-OU team composition, and that is another alternative because I believe that you play. Actually, no, I think that team composition does not actually end up playing into Siphon, or excuse me, into Silas, because I believe that it plays Pantheon instead for Whisper's trait. But anyway, so I was thinking something with mages. These particular augments are not a great fit for what I'm going for here. I was like, I guess I'm going to go with Blue Battery because that is good for spellcasters. And in the end, this was probably the best choice that I could have made out of this particular setup. Now, I also have a Zyra as well, so I would not mind playing the Zyra plus the Silas in order to try to get the Whispers synergy, but I'm not exactly sure how I can get this unit in. So until I can actually play some mages, my board is just kind of like random random units that happen to be 2-starred. I have hit a 2-star Karma. I've hit a 2-star Sejuani, and so I'll just play these units for the time being. I was also able to make a Warmogs on Silas, which is going to make him very tanky. One of the reasons why I still like taking the defensive items off the initial carousel is, number one, they tend not to be as contested as the offensive items. People generally tend to go for the offensive items on the carousels. So number one, they tend not to be as contested. And then number two, they're just more flexible. You can, like, if you take a bow, you're kind of stuck going into some kind of AD team composition. If you take a tier, you're kind of stuck with the spellcasting team composition. But the defensive items tend to be more flexible. And oh, do I click? I really should have clicked on that Vlad. You see, there was a Vlad in the store, and if I had the Vlad, I could play Astral Trait right now because I have a Lux in the store, and then I could get mages in. But I did not click on that Vlad, so that's a little bit disappointing. Okay, as far as what's going on in the rest of the lobby, so I'm looking around, I'm scouting at these other boards. I haven't had a lot of time to do that yet, and it turns out that like half the lobby is playing either Astral or Shimmer Scale or something along those lines. And in particular, it looks like a lot of people are playing into Karma. So I want to say a few words about that because there's an awful lot of people that are playing into Karma in this game. So this was a build that popped up really in the second week of the patch that we're on right now. So this is, we've had a good deal of stability here in Teamfight Tactics here in set 7.5, unlike set 7, which was just endless hot fixes, endless B patches, constant change, constant bugs everywhere. This set's been pretty stable. It's definitely been way better in that regard. And we've been actually having 2-week patches. Like, imagine that, going a whole 2 weeks without changes. But anyway, so things have been pretty stable. And one of the things that's developed is that you can see over time when you're on the same patch, people start adapting to the patch. Wow, look at that. Every single other player in the game was level 3. I was the only one who leveled to 4 early. Wow. Okay. A lot of people playing greedy econ in this game. I was the only one that went to level 4 early. Okay. Anyway, so because we've been on more stable patches, there's time for people to kind of innovate and come up with different team compositions because the rules are not constantly shifting with every like 2 days. And one of the things that developed was this team composition that's based on playing Karma. Karma is Dragonmancer plus Jade. Jade got a little bit stronger in this patch, but really it's just a vertical Dragonmancer team composition based on playing Karma. This has gotten, as I said, very, very popular. Basically, people figured out that Karma was a bit overbuffed in the last patch. They increased the damage on Karma 3-star, probably too much, honestly higher than it should be. So, and the other thing that they did in the most recent patch was they also buffed Dragonmancer trait. What they did was they nerfed how Nunu functioned because that was the big abusive interaction, Dragonmancer spatula or Dragonmancer emblem on Nunu. So they nerfed Nunu pretty hard. They removed the true damage on Nunu. So he was no longer able to eat people as effectively. And because they did that, the impression was, hey, now we can buff Dragonmancer trait because Nunu is no longer going to cause like this very abusive situation. So anyway, the net result of that is Dragonmancer trait got stronger, Karma 3-star got stronger. And so after, about a week of the patch or so, people started to realize, hey, we should play, the Karma and play Karma reroll. And it actually ends up being quite strong. So Karma, her 3-star damage, I'm just going to read the ability here. Her ability, Inner Flame, fires a projectile, deals magic damage in an area around whoever she hits. The 1-star damage is 210, 2-star damage is 280, the 3-star damage is 420. So to go from 280 damage to 420 damage, definitely too high. It should probably be around 350, 360, something like that. So that was an overbuff, definitely set the numbers at a rate that was too high. And so the net result is people are playing Karma, playing for vertical Dragonmancers with Karma. And quite a few people in this game, we can already tell, are playing into that. There's like at least 2 different people that are playing into that. So how do you then itemize the Karma? Well, she's going to get a ton of ability power from the Dragonmancer trait. If you go vertical Dragonmancers and you try to 2-star and 3-star a bunch of Dragonmancers, it's pretty easy for her to get like 300% extra ability power, 400% extra ability power, something like that. In fact, I think this person's already one person who's playing into Karma long-term. Maybe not, that they have a Morello's, which is not one of her standard items. So anyway, if you're going to get a billion ability power from your trait, what then is the way to itemize the unit? Well, anytime you're getting a ton of ability power from traits, you want to stack crit chance. So Infinity Edge Jeweled Gauntlet then magnifies the damage that she's getting from her traits. And then people typically put another healing item on her on top of that. And they have been linking Hand of Justice because it has the crit synergy with Infinity Edge and Jeweled Gauntlet. So right now you've been seeing people do Infinity Edge Jeweled Gauntlet, and then in addition to that, getting Hand of Justice. But you could also put Gunblade or something else like that. And they've actually been frontlining Karma so that she'll cast more often. The idea being she'll take damage and then she'll cast more frequently. So we had a game, I know I put a game on YouTube where I did this, where someone was frontlining the Karma, and I was like, that's really weird. I don't understand why they're doing that. And it was because they were copying this build, which is like just starting to appear. And then as I record this video, which is like 2 or 3 days later, it's gone from like this wonky build that a couple people were doing to now the Karma build is absolutely everywhere and people are just copying it endlessly. I do think it's a fairly strong build, and it also seems to be pretty good in double up mode, because in double up it's easier to 3-star the unit because you can have your partner looking for karmas as well. Here we go. This is an example. This person's augment is Dragonmancer Conference, so they're going to get Dragonmancers after every PvP round, much like Yordles from the previous set. And you can see their karma already has Infinity Edge Jeweled Gauntlets. So this person is open forting pretty egregiously. Open forting meaning they're not trying to win the rounds. They're just deliberately trying to loss streak to get additional gold, build up the loss streak, and then they're going to search for 3-star karma. And that is very clearly their plan in this game. So like they've already taken 24 damage, and they're not even trying to win the rounds right now. In fact, hardly anyone in this lobby is trying to win rounds right now. And that has actually opened up kind of a market opportunity. I don't know quite what the best way to say this. Kind of like if you ever were familiar with Moneyball, like the baseball strategy book, about you like want to try to take advantage of things that other people are ignoring, like strategies that other people aren't pursuing. In this lobby, almost everyone is open forting. They're like deliberately trying to lose rounds to just build up extra econ. And that actually opens up kind of a space to actually try to win the rounds and just win streak instead of loss streaking and get more gold that way. So that's kind of what we were doing here in this lobby. We're like, all right, well, if everyone is just going to deliberately try to loss streak, well, there's an opportunity for us to do well by win streaking instead of loss streaking. And so I was able to win streak every single round. Headwinder, unfortunately, lost the last round. He won the first 4 and then lost the last round. So this is something that becomes a little bit more common as you go up the ladder. You will see more people pushing econ really, really hard, almost to a dangerous degree at times. People will just push econ super duper hard. I generally don't recommend doing that, not unless you really know what you're doing, just because it's a very, it's a very high risk, high reward strategy. You will get more gold, and that will give you the potential to make your board stronger. But if you don't hit, then you just are going like a fast 7th or 8th. So I don't really recommend doing that. I more recommend trying to be stable throughout the game. But a lot of people online, particularly people see streamers doing this, because streamers generally are people who play a billion games. They're very good. And they see streamers do this and get away with it. And so they try to imitate them. But as I said, I don't really recommend doing that. All right, well, so this is back to another person who's playing Karma. Remember how I said this build is popular and is everywhere? So in this lobby, there's multiple people trying to play the Karma. And that's actually kind of good for us because we are not playing Karma. And once again, it's kind of like an opportunity to take advantage of the fact that multiple people are playing this build. So if we play other builds that are not based on Karma, it gives us an opportunity to hit things that are not being played. So for example, I'm looking to play mages instead. I actually think I have a pretty good setup to play mages here. Like I'm running Astral right now for extra econ. I get a nice augment. I get +1 mage on my augment. So I'm going to go ahead. That allows me to put in Lilia for 5 mages, which is a big spike going from 3 mage to 5 mage. At 3 mage, your mages cast at lower ability power. At 5 mages, they cast at, right now in this patch, it's 105% ability power, so they basically do a very slight increase on their damage. But at least they're no longer casting at lower damage at this point in time. So I also have blue buff, which is, blue battery, excuse me, not blue buff, blue battery for my other augment, which again is a very good mage augment. So I'm feeling pretty good here. I'm still on full win streak. I've actually won 6 rounds in a row. And if you're wondering why do I still have this Karma on my bench, well, I'm holding Karma because I know multiple people are playing Karmas in the lobby. So I figure I'll just take 3 Karmas out of the pool to try to troll them a little bit, make it a tiny bit more difficult for them to hit on their team compositions. The other thing that's helping me is I have pretty good front line. Like I have Silas with a Warmogs and Silas with 5 mages in. So he's actually pretty tanky with that, even though it's only a 1-star Silas. The Warmogs plus the 5 mages means he gets a big shield, and he's actually quite strong. Again, the other reason why I'm win streaking is so many people are either playing Shimmer Scale for econ or Astral for econ, and they're not really playing boards that are intended to win rounds right now. So as I said, I will take that. And then, oh, hello, what's this? It's a Soam at 5% odds. Not a crazy high roll, but pretty lucky. So I was immediately like, oh, okay. I've got the +1 mage augment. I've got blue battery augment. I think I know what my plan is for the game right now. We're going to play Soam, and we're going to look to play 7 mages. Right now, Soam is not really considered to be a particularly strong unit, and so that's good in one sense because it means that I'm probably not going to be contested in this lobby. Like if I'm looking through here, no one is playing mages except one person is playing Astral, but multiple people are playing Astral, but one person's playing like straight Astral. So they're playing mages, but they'll be playing into either Aurelion Soul or maybe going into Zaya or Shyvana later on. But like, seems very unlikely that they are going to try to contest me on Soam. Anyway, this fight, it looks like my win streak finally comes to an end. I might have beaten the person I was up against, but then their partner comes in with 3-star Karma. And yep, so one of these teams has already hit their 3-star Karma, and another team, I believe, was going for it but didn't hit. And so the team that was going for it and didn't hit is now in a world of trouble. Anyway, though, so as I said, Soam, not super popular. The Soam Lagoon comp was very strong in some of the earlier patches, did end up getting nerfed a bit. So people don't really play it anymore, but I do think it's still a pretty viable team composition if you get one thing. And that's, you need to get +1 mages somehow, whether that's through an augment, whether that's through an emblem, you need to get +1 mages. That's what makes the comp strong, because if you can get +1 mages, then you can play 7 mage with Soam. Basically, you need the +1 mage to get to 7 mages, or else you can't get there in the team competition. You can get there at level 9, but you want to hit 7 mages on level 8, not level 9. So like right now, I'm going to level to 7, so I can put Soam in. We'll just take out the Lilia for right now. And then we'll move the items over from that Lux was holding over to Soam. I'm going to put the tier on Soam. I absolutely need a blue buff on Soam. It's the most critical item on Soam. I already have the Jewel Gauntlet, which is nice. And now I would take out the Vlad for Lilia to put Cavalier trait in, but I want to keep Astral trait in, feeding me a little bit of additional income. So that's why we're running that. And that's why we're not running Talia either. Now, of course, I could make an Archangel Staff on Soam, but I'm holding off on doing that because, again, I need another tier to get blue buff, and that is the most important item I can make. Soam's best items tend to be blue buff plus Morello's and then +1 item. So I have half of a blue buff, I have half of a Morello's. So those are the items I'm going to be trying to play towards with Soam long term. As I've said, this is kind of an underplayed team composition, but I don't think it's that bad if you can get the +1 mages. Soam 2-star with 7 mages actually does quite a lot of work if you can get his best in-slot items. So that's what we're driving towards in this game. And as I've said, it's uncontested in the lobby. Unfortunately, I do lose that round, and the reason for that is Soam is pretty bad at single target damage. I was up against a Volibear, and again, Soam is an area of effect caster, AoE caster. He's really not very good when it comes to 1v1 combat. So Volibear had some healing, I believe, in that team composition, and just wasn't something that I was able to overcome. All right, now I'm keeping an eye on some of these other team compositions. There's someone with the 3-star Karma, frontlining the Karma, as you can see, and they appear to be partnered with someone who is running very deeply into Astral. They're still level 5. I don't know quite what they're doing by re-rolling still at level 5 for Astral units at this point in time. They have 3-star Skarner and 3-star Nidalee, but they do not have 3-star Lux. They do not have 3-star Varus. They do not have 3-star Vlad. This is not a great place to be. And they're level 5, 0 gold. So this team is in real trouble. I don't know quite what they're doing here, but they definitely need to be winning rounds right now. If they've rolled this much gold and they're still only level 5 and they're not winning rounds, that is a huge, huge problem for their board. But yeah, I'm actually doing quite well. Look at that. Soam is able to get the crit on his ultimate, and he's going to pop the 3-star Nidalee. And I was like, oh, can I win this before their partner comes in? Yep. So that's great. This was a very successful stage 3, considering I didn't roll at all, and we're still top health in the lobby. And a bunch of other people in the lobby have been rolling pretty heavily, while I've been pushing levels and Headwinder's been pushing levels. So was not able to maintain full win streak all the way through stage 3, but I won the first 7 rounds in a row because so many people were open fording. And then now we're still in a really healthy place. As far as what Headwinder's doing, he's going into a guild composition. He's basically playing vertical guild. So he's going to be looking to play into Xayah later on. And I think he should have told me to hold Zippies because he does end up playing Zippy in this game as well. He was trying to figure out if he was going to play either Mirage, because there was the potential to play into Mirage this game, or ultimately he was going to play vertical guild into Xayah, and he ended up going vertical guild into Xayah. All right, well, that was a great minion round for me. I was able to get a vest, which pairs really well with the cloak that I already had for a Gargoyle Stoneplate, a great frontline item for Silas, who already has the Warmogs. With the Warmogs, he gets more health, and with the Gargoyles, he gets additional armor and magic resistance. By the way, you see as I peek at these other boards, it's 2 people that now have 3-star Karma. Teams have invested, or no, this person only has 2-star Karma, excuse me. I believe this is the team that went for 3-star Karma and didn't hit. They went for it and they didn't get it. So they're now in, again, a fair bit of trouble because they went for a build that was contested and did not end up hitting. Whereas Headwinder and I are actually playing uncontested builds in this lobby, which is really nice. All right, so I mentioned I got the Gargoyle Stoneplate for the Silas. Again, a really nice item for him. Pairs really well with the Warmogs because one provides health, the other provides armor and magic resistance. And the other thing I got was a belt, which was fantastic because I was able to use the belt for a Morello's on Soam. So now I just need a tier for blue buff, and then that's my full list of items. All right, I could have just taken Stand United there, which would not have been bad. Here I was thinking Essence Theft. It's not bad, especially because I'm playing a mage board, but I was like, I can also go the greedy route. I could try to pull Mage Emblem from Tome of Traits, and I could try to pull Lagoon from Tome of Traits. So I actually have some pretty good options here. So I'm going to look to pull Tome of Traits, and that was not what I was looking for. That's a bit disappointing. Again, I really wanted to get I was really looking for Mage or Lagoon, and I had good options to get one of them. You can see 3 of my 4 emblems are tailored here, but I wasn't able to get it. It was a good time to pull Tome of Traits because Astral Trait can't come from a tome and Whispers Trait can't come from a tome. So I actually had really good odds to pull the stuff I actually wanted. But I end up not hitting what I wanted, and so this was kind of a wasted last augment for me. I'm going to make the best of a bad situation. I take the Bruiser emblem, and so now what this means is I can cut Skarner from the team composition when I want to drop Astral, and I'll still be able to have Bruiser trait in for Silas. So it's not bad in that regard. I'm able to make use of this. And I think I'm going to end up putting this on, what I do, I put this on Sejuani for now, and then I can always transfer it off Sejuani later on onto a better unit. So as I said, making the best of a bad situation, but I basically went for the greedier play. I tried to pull the mage emblem, didn't get it, unfortunately. Lagoon also would have been nice because then I could have played into 6 Lagoon pretty easily. But oh well, did not end up hitting. The other option there, I did have Guild Emblem as an option, so I also could have looked to play Guild Emblem, and then just would have given my whole team 3% Omnivamp or whatever it is, which would not have been terrible either. Anyway, I am now level, I'm now level 8, so now I can go up to 8 mages. So now is the time to remove that Skarner. We will lose Astral Trait for this, but again, that's okay. I can play Lilia along with the Sejuani for... Cavalier frontline, which is not bad. And then I am going to get... Oh, I get another Soam here? Oh, that's right. So Headwinder sends me a Soam because I had the champion duplicator. That's right. So we were considering, the plan was that we were considering that we were going to take the Soam and then use it for Soam 2-star, which, would use the champion duplicator, which would mean we're not using it on like a 5-cost unit, legendary unit, but it would stabilize me here in the mid game. I just decided before I do that, I was like, you know what? I want to roll a little bit more gold. I have a couple champions that are almost 2-starred. I would really like to see if I could 2-star Silas. I don't think I'm quite strong enough to go to level 9 yet. So I decided I would roll a little bit more gold before burning the champion duplicator. But I was able to find a Shyvana for Headwinder, and so that now confirms he's going into Xayah plus guild trade. He was able to pull a guild emblem, so he is vertical guild over there. All right, I am still last pick. I believe I've been last pick on every carousel. I desperately want a tier so that I can make that blue buff on Soam. Again, he has the Jeweled Gauntlet and Morelos, which are great items on him, but he needs the blue buff. Really, really needs the blue buff so that he will spam cast in these fights. So unfortunately, that's going to get taken. So I was like, that's a bit disappointing. And out of these, I just decide I'll take a frontline item here. The bow is not going to be useful for me. I will just take this vest, and that can probably be an item for Silas in some form. All right, so I decided, as I said, I'm just going to roll a little bit more gold and see if I can hold on to this champion duplicator. I have like Lux 1-star. Oh, what was this? I get 2-star Silas. That's right. That's how we use the other send. And so I roll a little bit more, and I actually hit the 2-star Soam. So I was like, all right, and now I think I can probably go to level 9. And I also should just sell my current Silas and transfer the items over. I was thinking for a second, I ended up rolling a bit more here. I can't remember. And then I hit 2-star Lilia. I think that was the sign for me to stop. I think I was trying to see if I could hit more Silases. And then I realized I am not even remotely close to 3-star Silas, so it seems very unlikely that I'm going to hit the 3-star. Better just to sell the one I have right now, which, by the way, the Silas I have right now came out of the very first minion round of the game, 1-2, and I have not seen any Silases since then. It's kind of funny because that was the unit that got me to play mages, having a Silas pop out of my store. Anyway, so we're up against this Astral player, and again, the Morelos does a ton of work in this fight. Not sure that it shows up on the damage chart, but it was stopping all those units from healing. Like the Nidalee had a Bloodthirster, and then that unit was not able to heal. So I think this is the point where I transfer the Silas over. Or do I wait another round here? Nope, there we go. So we're going to transfer this over, and I think we've done a pretty good job of stabilizing here in the mid game. Like I've got 2-star Silas, I have 2-star Soam, I have 7 mages in right now. So like my board has definitely gotten stronger here. And then I have to consider, am I really going to play Vlad long term? The answer to that is no. Vlad will definitely come out of this comp as soon as we can find a Zoe. I don't know why it took me a minute to come up with the name. As soon as we can find Zoe, Vlad's going to come out of this comp. And I no longer have Astral Trait, so I'm no longer going to be getting like 1-star Vlads in the hopes of 3-starring it. That seems unlikely. All right, so we're up against this Astral player. Again, this person is still level 5. Now, granted, they have 3-starred a number of their units, but I don't think you still want to be level 5 on stage 4 or 6. Feels like you kind of want to be a higher level than this. So yeah, I mean, these units are 3-starred, but we've got the Morelos burn on like literally the entire team. And I'm going to cut through them pretty easily and go over to Headwinder's board. He's still got his Xayah alive, and it looks like we're in pretty good shape. So we have been able to preserve health here in the mid game. It's a shame I lost that one round on the middle of stage 4. Otherwise, I'd be on like a 5-6 match win streak right now. So that's a little bit disappointing. But other than that, it was a really great stage. Now, the one thing I need is a tier, and there's a tier here. So I was like, okay, I don't want to waste more gold rolling. I'll just go ahead and take this. Now, I don't really have a use for the sword. I don't really have a use for the I don't really have a use for some of these other items, but I already had a Reforger from Lagoon trait. Remember, you get a Reforger from Lagoon trait at, I think it's 50 stacks of Lagoon. And so I can reforge this. I'm going to reforge the sword. I'm going to reforge the locket. So I'm going to reforge this. Oh, it's like, oh, another tier. Okay, well, that's a Protector's Vow. This item was nerfed in the most recent patch. It was pretty overpowered for a long time before that. But it's still a decent frontliner item. And now I'm going to reforge the Hurricane. And a Zephyr. That's a good item. Definitely a good item as we go into these late game situations. So I've talked a little bit about this in some of the recent videos I've done. Right now, a lot of the endgame boards play very heavily into vertical dragons. People will be playing 3 dragons, 4 dragons, 5 dragons. And what happens when you're playing a lot of dragons is you don't have very many units on the board. And that means Zephyrs become more powerful. So I see there's a person playing Eye of the Storm Lee Sin. This person, yeah, so you can see they've got the Lee Sin on the front line. Their augment is Eye of the Storm. That means the unit that stands right there in the center of the board gets like a huge additional amount of ability power. So I was like, aha, this person cannot move their Lee Sin if they want to take advantage of Eye of the Storm. Let's Zephyr that person, shall we? And so we're going to go ahead and win this fight. And I don't know if we win this if I don't get the Zephyr. So this is pretty important because it's going to knock this team down to 5 HP. This team looks like they're going to be spiking. I can see that they have an Ao Shin on their bench. So clearly they want to play Ao Shin with Eye of the Storm. And if they're able to get that unit 2-starred, then that unit might be unbeatable. So we want to get them out of the lobby before that can happen. And that's a pretty important round win just to stop that from happening. Do not want that person to scale up any higher. Definitely want to try to stop them right away. Anyway, I am still looking to econ to go to 9. At level 9, I can find, Shyvana for Headwinder's board. I can look to find, what else would I be looking for? Oh, Zoe's. I have found 1 Zoe right now, so that means Vlad comes out of the team composition. I'm going to hold Vlad just in case there's an off chance I could get up to 9 mages later. And here I'm going to look to position for one of these other boards. I think there was someone, one of the other people in the lobby had just made, I can't remember if they made this on this round or not, but I believe that they just made a 3-star Deja. And so that's one of the other things we're going to have to be dealing with. So I'm going to try to position to Zephyr that unit if I would be up against that particular team composition. This person looks like they're playing some combination of Shioyu and Seraphine. I'm not exactly sure what this board is. It does not appear to be very strong, and I'm just kind of tearing through this pretty easily. So yeah, we're going to knock that person down to 6 HP, and now we're going to come over here and help Headwinder on his board, although I think he would have won that round anyway. And now I've got 2 teams down on 1 HP. This is what we want. We want to get these teams out of the lobby. Do not give them time to scale up on stronger units. All right, so I'm also getting more items out of Lagoon trait. Remember that Lagoon trait, you do get item components at 80 stacks and 140 stacks, and then again at 200 stacks. This is kind of late in the game to be playing Lagoon trait, but oh, there it is. There's the 3-star Deja. Okay, I was 1 round too soon. We see this, and it's like, ooh, that's pretty dangerous. 3-star Deja. So I'm going to position to Zephyr that unit. There we go. The one piece of good news is the team that has the 3-star Deja is on 1 HP in the lobby. So if we can beat them, or maybe more realistically beat their partner, then we can get them out of the lobby. And that's what we have to hope for, because we probably can't beat 3-star Deja right now. Anyway, I am up against someone who's playing 3-star Karma. Unfortunately, Karma does manage to hit my Soam in the back line. If Zoe just barely missed getting the Tornado CC. So yeah, you can see this person, they don't have any healing on their Karma. I guess they have Celestial Blessing Augment, but otherwise they don't have any healing on their unit. And I mean, it's a strong unit for sure. Does get outscaled a little bit in the late game for what that's worth. The Karma does tend to get outscaled a little bit, but it's certainly a terror in the early and mid game. All right, well, we've got another carousel here, and it is a dragon carousel, which is a little bit scary given that, we are last pick on like every single one of these carousels. We've prioritized health over carousel priority. Other teams have definitely not put much focus on their health in the hopes of lost streaking and getting to pick off these carousels first. But we're still going to get some pretty decent stuff. Headwinder gets a Shroud, which of course is going to be great for late game situations. And then I'm able to get a Zerat portal, which again is pretty good in these late game situations for me. just because it's going to give me a little bit of additional front line. All right, so there's a Yasuo there. And again, I'm just still econing up to level 9 here, not trying to rush. I've still got a Soraka on my bench, which could be another unit to potentially play. And so I just want to keep an eye on what other teams I can potentially hit. But I believe that Deja is still one of them. Yep, 3-star Deja, still one of them. The Mirage trait in this game is Spell Sword, by the way, for the curious. So that unit is going to ramp up to an outrageous degree in these fights with Spell Sword plus being 3-starred. So am I going to hit the Deja team composition? And the answer is yes, I am. Fortunately, I have hit the Zephyr. Now, can I beat this team even with the Zephyr? I don't think so, honestly, but this is a 2-player game mode. I do not have to beat this person. What I have to do is hold them in this match against me long enough that their partner can lose. Like, I don't want them to come over and reinforce. So, okay, I am going to lose the round, but oh, guess what happened? Their partner just lost. So, yep, I was able to do my job. Deja was not able to wipe the board fast enough to go reinforce their ally. And so we get the most dangerous team out of the lobby early. So that's great news for us. That is the danger when you lost streak so heavily and you just sacrifice your health for carousel priority. I mean, can it work? Yes, it absolutely can work. But that team didn't get strong until they were on 1 hit point left. And, you know, when you only have 1 health left, you're in a really dangerous position where any loss will take you out of the lobby. All right, well, I went ahead and leveled to 9 because it didn't cost much gold to do so, and that allowed me to put the Zyra in, and Zyra's going to put Whisper's trait in play. So that's actually pretty nice because I'm going to get the armor shred. I also managed by dumb luck to Zephyr out the Shioyu on this team composition, which is probably their strongest unit. Now, keep an eye on my backline. Unfortunately, I have a ton of units in my backline, so they are prey for the Zyra to keep ulting it. But, oh, fight RNG. Zyra ults my backline, and they all step forward just in time to dodge the ult. She's going to kill them all with the next ultimate, but fortunately Soam, who has slightly less range than the other units, Soam is actually not getting hit by the Zyra ult. And so I'm able to win that round, and guess what? We just knocked that person out of the lobby as well. And so now it's going to be down to just 2 teams left. Headwinder and I, and then this other team that's got the 3-star Karma over there. All right, so now that it's come down to a duel, I do want to say a couple other words about other things I could have done in this game, because I made one big mistake in this game, and that was sticking with the Sejuani too long. Sej was good for the early game. I mean, it's nice that she's providing the extra health from guild trait. It's kind of nice that she's providing Cavalier trait with Lilia, but none of that stuff is really that important. What I should have done earlier is I should have started picking up Pantheons, and I should have replaced Sejuani with Pantheon, because I could have made Pantheon into a bruiser, and then that would have given me Whisper trait without having to play Zyra, and Pantheon would just be like another tanky frontliner. Then that would allow me to drop the Zyra and play Bard or play Soraka instead. So like instead of the Sejuani plus Sylas frontline, I could have Sylas plus Pantheon, and then instead of Zyra in the backlines, I could alternately have like Bard back there instead, or Soraka, which would definitely be better. Well, anyway, that's food for thought for another game. I don't have a lot of experience with getting bruiser emblems here in this set. I am going to hit a 2-star Xayah, which I'm going to send to Headwinder. That is going to take him up to 6 Xayahs. So we have a chance to potentially get the 3-star Xayah for him. I don't know if you saw that, but he managed to both Shroud and Zephyr the 3-star Karma on the other person's board. So that's pretty good. This person is playing a Shapeshifter team composition. They have Nidalee, and they have Shyvana, and they have Jace. So they're basically playing into 4 Shapeshifters over here. Fortunately, Sylas is very tanky. Like, Sylas tanks way longer than you would expect. He is definitely being helped by Zoe, putting some invulnerability bubbles on him. And then look what happens. I actually get another tier out of Lagoon trait. So this is me having good luck in terms of what items are popping up for the Lagoon components. I believe I got a tier for 80 stacks of Lagoon, and I believe I got another tier right now for the 140 stacks. So I'm just going to put a blue buff on Zoe. It's not one of her best items because her mana cost is definitely higher. I think she has 90 mana. And by the way, here I'm going to get an item. This is the 6/2 item drop that you always get in double up mode. So blue buff is not one of her better items, but, you know, it's going to cause her to cast more often. And then I add a Shojin on top of that. And by the way, I've just been grabbing Soams because, you know, why not? And I'm on 6 Soams now, or 7 Soams. Plus, I've still got that champion duplicator from the early game. So we just need to find one more Soam for Soam 3-star here. Because once again, this is a unit that no one else is playing. And Soam 3-star would be pretty good. I think we'd be pretty happy with that particular unit. Anyway, I am up against the 3-star Karma board. And this person I think they've got 6 Dragonmancer on their Karma. This board has been giving Headwinder's board a lot of trouble. It's just been getting through his front line and deleting it. I have a setup, though, that actually works really well against this team composition. And that's largely because I have Zoe. Zoe keeps putting the invulnerability bubbles on my front line, and she keeps summoning daisies that then the Karma has to kill. So Zoe is kind of the counter to that team composition. And Zoe's just providing so much value in these fights. The Shojin plus blue buff combo just means she casts like crazy. She doesn't cast with a lot of ability power. I mean, she has some from 7 mages. She doesn't really have a ton of ability power, but she doesn't need a ton of ability power. I just want her to spam the invulnerability shields. I want her to spam the tornadoes. The tornadoes provide attack speed, and they also provide knockup for enemy units. And I want her to spam the daisies. The lasers I don't really care that much about, but, you know, whatever. And by the way, one other thing. Oh, yeah, Headwinder found a Soam for me, and I still have the champion duplicator. So that's 3-star Soam, which I've been able to make in a surprising number of my videos. But it's always fun when it happens. So now I have pretty much perfect Soam items. And now we're feeling really good about this game. I've got the 7 mages. I've got Whisper Trade in. I have a Zephyr that I can place. And I'm going to try to place it on the Shyvana on this Shapeshifter board. Let's see, did I manage to get the Shyvana? Yes, it looks like I did. I knew I did because this is pre-recorded footage, but we'll pretend that I didn't know that ahead of time. And anyway, so yeah, now I was able to take the most dangerous unit on that enemy team out of the fight. Shyvana has a ridiculous amount of health with a Warmogs plus Shapeshifter 4, but she doesn't really have that much damage because she's kind of tank Shyvana in this game. And the Nidalee does not do enough damage. Again, Zoe spamming the invulnerability. Zoe spamming the daisies. So just making it so difficult for the team to get through that. Anyway, we knocked them down to 2 HP, but that's a little bit sad because we have to win 2 more rounds. 1 to get them to 1 hit point because you can never be knocked below 1 hit point if you're above it. And then another 1 to eliminate them. So that's slightly disappointing. But oh, what's this on the carousel? Why, it's another mage hat. So that's going to be nice. We can now turn Zyra into a mage, and that lets us cut one of the weaker mages from our team composition, and then I can replace with a better unit. So, all right, by the way, where's the mage hat? The game is always a little buggy when an emblem is on a unit that already has the trait. There it is. It pops up on my bench eventually, but it did take a while. Now, we definitely do not need 8 mages, so again, we can cut one of the weak mages from our team composition. So let's roll. We can definitely play Soraka. She's definitely better, and we'll keep rolling. And there's Bard. Bard is better than Soraka. If you don't need health, we do not really need health here. So I'm trying to see if I can find the 3-star version, or excuse me, the 2-star version of Bard. I don't quite get there, but oh, look at this. I'm going to get the Zephyr. It doesn't hit the Karma, but it does hit the Kaisa, which is not bad. It's probably the second most important unit in this team composition. And now watch the back line in this fight. Watch what happens to the Karma. So she's going to get Zyra ulted, and Zyra ulted again, and then Bard ulted, and then Zoe tornadoed, and oh my goodness, the CC train is unreal. So that unit gets absolutely nothing to do in the fight. Soam does 24,000 damage. I'm going to pop over to this person's board. Now, we still do need to win another fight to knock them out of the lobby, but guess what? This other team decides that they don't think that they're going to be able to beat us, so they're just going to call this one quits. And so they're going to leave the lobby, and GG. That is going to be a win for us in a very tough, very challenging lobby. So we're able to overcome multiple 3-star Karmas. We overcome the 3-star Deja. We overcame a bunch of people that were rerolling Astral units. And we were able to beat the Grandmaster team, which is probably the highest rated people that I've ever beaten in a game of Teamfight Tactics. Now, that doesn't mean that they're invulnerable. Obviously, they lose games too, but still, was feeling pretty good about this. It was a nice game overall. Kudos to Headwinder. We really put it together in this one. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care, folks.